Honest Windrunner! I challenge Makora! Let it be finished.
Yo, what's up guys, Toby from the Master Walk Show, and I hope you're having an amazing day. What do you guys think about a build that is a frontliner DPS, which is ridiculously hard to kill, soaking in the damage like it just doesn't care, while lifestealing it all back in a single turn? A cleaving monster that spreads acid and debuffs like a psycho, a beast that can go solo, party play, and can go online really early for that honor mode playthrough. I present to you this life-stealing, acid-spreading, unkillable barbarian, fitting of the name, the Savage. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, here we are now guys in our character creation screen. This is where we will be building the foundation of our Savage for today. We are eyeing on two interesting races that are really powerful for the build. But if you don't mind optimizing or min-maxing your character, you can select any character that you prefer, for as long as you are happy with the build. The races that I'll be mentioning are just for optimization if you want to go the min-max route. That being said, we are selecting from the Tiefling and the Half-Orc. Both of them has the same race feature such as base ratio speed as well as dark vision. The difference is that the Half-Orc has this relentless endurance as well as the most powerful melee attack feature of any melee class, which is the Savage attack. When we land a critical hit with a melee weapon, we deal an extra die for weapon damage. And as for the Tiefling, we get the Hellish Resistance, which provides us with resistance with fire, and we only take half fire damage. I'll be selecting the Tiefling, and as well as getting the sub-race, the Zerial Tiefling, which will give us a cantrip that will provide advantages in intimidation and performance checks for 10 turns. As well as we will be unlocking at level 3 the Tiefling's race feature, which is the Legacy of Avernus. For the classes, we will be getting the class that is most popular in the game, which is the Barbarian, giving us proficiencies in light armor, medium armor, and shields, as well as class features such as an armor defense, but we won't be utilizing that. The most important thing that we need here is the rage. For the backgrounds, we are selecting with the only background that is interesting for this build, which is the Soldier. Most likely we will just be benefiting from athletics due to the high strength that we have. As for the abilities, it will look something like this. We will be prioritizing strength, dexterity, and constitution, and a little bit of charisma. The strength is because we will be dealing a lot of weapon damage, and this will scale later on our levels. Second is our dexterity, just to give us more initiative and AC. Constitution is third, just because the Barbarian already has a really high health pool. Level 2 of Barbarian, we unlock our class action, which is our class feature, Danger Sense, as well as our Reckless Attack, which will provide us with advantages on our attack roll. Level 3 is that we unlock our first subclass feature, which is the most important subclass feature in our build, which is the Wild Heart. We can select our Bestial Heart with the Wild Heart subclass feature, and we are selecting the Tiger Heart for this build. Aside from giving us the Tiger Heart, which is a class action that will basically give us the rage to empower our leaps for 10 turns, the most important skill that we need here is the Tiger's Bloodlust. This is a weapon action that will basically gives us a cleave that can attack 3 enemies at once and make them bleed for 2 turns. This is the bread and butter spell that we will be using to cleave down as many enemies in a single turn. And if ever you are going with the Tiefling, we unlock our Legacy of Avernus spell, which is the Searing Smite. Level 4, we unlock our first feat of the build. We are eyeing on our first feat, which is the Dual Wielder. We can now use 2 weapons that aren't light, and we gain a plus bonus in our AC while we are wielding a melee weapon in each hand. Level 5 is where we unlock our extra attack, as well as increasing our movement speed for 3 meters while we are not wearing any heavy armor. And this level also unlocks our second race feature or race ability, which is the Branding Smite from the Legacy of Avernus, now level 6, which is really interesting for the build. We unlock additional class features such as an additional rage, and now we can select an animal aspect that we want to include for our build. We will be selecting more on the aspect of the tiger, which is a really nice passive feature that will add our strength modifier to attack rolls against enemies that are bleeding or poisoned and gain proficiency in survival. You can actually select maybe the bear if you want to be the pack mule of your party, that will increase your carry weight capacity, or maybe the elk that will increase everybody's move speed in your party, which is really nice. But for this build, I highly advise you go with the aspect of the beast tiger. Level 7, we unlock class feature which will give us feral instinct. That is basically a lower level of alert feat that will only give us +3 bonus to our initiative and can't be surprised, which is a really nice thing to have. Level 8 is we will be unlocking our Lance Strider subclass, as well as the most important thing that we need here is the feat. For the feat, you can actually select Savage Attacker and also select Ability Improvement. For me, I'll just focus more on Ability Improvement. I'll be dumping all of the points into Strength just to add in more damage for our weapons. Level 9 is the level that we will be branching out to multi-class. You will be around mid-act 2 for this level, and we will be adding the most powerful melee class in the game with the Fighter. And for the fighting style, we will be selecting obviously the 2-weapon fighting that will provide us with the passive feature. When we make an attack with our offhand weapon, we can add our ability modifier to the damage of the attack. Now level 2 of our fighter, we unlock our action surge, which will provide us with a bonus action every short rest. Level 11 and level 3 of our fighter, we will be selecting our final subclass that we need for the build in the form of the champion. We'll be unlocking our subclass feature, which is the improved critical hit. Whenever we need to roll a critical hit while attacking, it will be reduced by 1. What's really cool about this effect is that it stacks with items and other skills in the game. Finally, level 12 of our savage, we are still focusing on our fighter class, and we unlock our final feat of the build. We are focusing it all on the athlete, which will grant us an ability point that we can spend, which will obviously go with strength. What's really cool about this feat is when we are prone, we stand up and significantly less movement will be used, as well as giving us a 50% additional jump distance in our character. Alright, now I'm going to be talking to you about the item setup that we need for the build. There are 2 builds that I'll be showcasing for you guys today. We're going to be starting with our early game build, which is from Act 1 and Act 2. While considering owner mode, I made sure that this build will go active really early, around level 3, level 4, to make sure that this is viable for your owner mode play. Now we're going to start with our armors, which is the Flesh Melter Cloak that will provide us with Caustic Reprisal. Whenever a creature deals melee damage, we dish out 1 to 4 acid damage in return. Next up is the most important armor we need for the build, especially for Act 1 and Act 2, as this will carry you around late to Act 2 up to early Act 3, which is the Luminous Armor. This will provide you with Radiating Shockwave. When the wearer deals radiant damage, they will cause a radiant shockwave explosion. Next up is the Enchorus Gloves. When the wearer deals acid damage, they will also inflict noxious fumes upon the target. For the boots, we're going with the Vash Koku's boots, which will give us the Caretaker's Care. Acid surfaces won't affect us, and we are resistant to acid damage. For the amulets, we are getting this really important amulet, which is the Periapt of Wound Closure. This will give us the passive wound closure. When down, automatically stabilize at the start of the turn. And the most important thing that we need for the amulet is the passive potent healing. This will maximize the number of hit points restored when we are healed. For the rings, most likely you will be getting this around Act 2. So which is the Crustacean Ring that will grant us Arcane Radiance. When the wearer deals spell damage while illuminated by light, we inflict additional radiating orb charges for 2 turns. And for the other one, which is my favorite, the Callous Glow Ring, that will provide us the Callous Glow. The wearer will deal additional 2 points of damage when creatures are illuminated. Now we're going to be talking about the early game weapons that we'll be needing. This will carry us throughout our playthrough in Baldur's Gate 3, which is the Shattered Flail. This will give us the passive Yunogo's Gift. Hitting an enemy with this weapon heals the wearer 1 to 6 hit points, but there is a downside to it. We will go mad if we don't continue hitting an enemy, but most likely we'll be hitting an enemy due to the cleaves that we'll be dishing out every turn. You will be dual wielding the corrosive flail for you to activate the power of your Incorus gloves and get that noxious fumes active. But if ever you want, you can swap it out with the shining staves of the skulls that will basically be the source of your radiant damage if ever you want to go the route of using luminous armor for the radiating shockwave. For me, I'll just go with the shining stave or skulls, as the radiating orb is much preferred, especially going into Act 2. And whenever you can reach Act 2 as quickly as possible, you need to get the Drake Throat Glaive. This will provide us with the Draconic Elemental spell for free. In my case, we will be imbuing it with the Acid element for our Shattered Flail. I already activated it a while ago, so we now have acid damage plus the Shining Stave of the Skulls for our radiant damage, and for the Shattered Flail, we'll be responsible for activating the noxious fumes to our target. Now we're going to be talking about the Act 3 build to make our Savage the most powerful as it can be. What's really cool about this is that all of the Act 3 items that I'll be mentioning are easily acquired really early in Act 3, so you can just go buy all of these items outright for you to make the Savage really powerful, starting with the Horns of the Berserker, which we will be getting the passive Seeking Blood. We will gain +2 bonus on our attack rolls when we attack enemies that already taken damage, but the most important thing here is our Bloodthirst that will provide our melee attacks with +2 necrotic damage for as long as we are not 100% health. This helmet will go perfectly with this build, as we will be taking a lot of damage as a frontliner. Bloodthirst will always be active while we are healing and lifestealing from our opponents. Next up is the Armor of Agility. You can just buy this outright from a vendor. You get the passive of Exotic Material. You add your full Dexterity modifier to your AC. You can still go with the Luminous Armor up to the end of the game, as the Radiant Shockwave is a really nice passive to have. But for me, I'll just go with the Armor of the Agility. Radiating Orb debuff will be provided by the weapons that we'll be selecting later on. So for the rings, we'll be selecting the Caustic Band that will provide us with the passive Malefic Excretion that will add 2 acid damage to our attacks. Now for the weapons, we'll be needing the Sacred Star that will grant us the Radiant Strike on hit. We will be inflicting a 1 turn of Radiating Orb upon the target. And finally, just for added crit, we'll be selecting the Dead Shot, which will provide us with improved critical. Now I'm going to be showing you guys some active gameplay on how we properly utilize our Savage. On turn 1 or after a long rest, we just need to imbue our Shattered Flail with elemental damage of our choosing. In my case, I will be imbuing it with additional fire damage, as we already have acid damage from our Caustic Band. We just need to add additional elemental damage of our choosing. In my case, I will be adding elemental damage of fire. So I'll just put elemental damage. I'll be selecting it to fire. Now our Shattered Flail now has additional fire damage. If you want to really go fancy, you can add the Elixir of Bloodlust. Once per turn when you kill a foe, you gain +5 temporary hit points in an additional action. It doesn't matter even if they hit us or even our HP goes down as much as possible. We will be lifestealing and taking it all back in a single turn. So we're just going to use our Rage for this turn. Now we have Tiger Rage. And we're going to be starting off with our Tiger's Bloodlust for this turn. We don't actually need to use our Noxious Fumes this turn. We just need to activate our bleed status to our enemies. Here. Move a little bit. Okay, and moving our turn. So if you notice, our HP is around 81. And we will be getting that back later on in this turn. For us here, we will be using our offhand weapon to activate our Radiating Orb. just to give us more damage for our Callous Glow Ring. So now Radiating Orb is up. We will be using our Tiger's Bloodlust to cleave down our enemies as quickly as possible. We will be using it here, maybe. Why did the enemy get hit? Now we just activated the Noxious Fumes, and this will provide more acid damage to our targets. We selected another turn here. We just healed around 99 now, and we just added more damage to the enemies. We just use Action Surge just for the sake of it, and cleave down more enemies to heal ourselves. Now we are in full health, as you see, 109. We just again cleave down our enemies. See here, the enemy has Reckless Attack, Radiating Orb, Noxious Fumes, Debuff, and Bleed. Ending our turn. Now we have two stacks, two different sources of Noxious Fumes from one target to another, so there's no saving them from these fumes. Even if we get damage, it doesn't matter because we will just heal everything of that damage in a single turn. As you noticed, we now have 60 HP. We will be activating again our Radiating Orb so that we can have more damage for our Callous Glow Ring. So now, Radiating Orb is up. Noxious Fumes already have 3 sources from different targets, and we can start cleaving them down once again and heal ourselves back up. See, we just healed around 12. Now target is dead. We just eliminated one target, so we activated the effect of the Elixir of Bloodlust. We get an additional action once we kill a target, so we can attack again. Most likely I would love to reposition and cleave down these enemies here if I can. Most likely I can't. I need to position more. Here, I can cleave them down here. Use Lucky Strike. Okay, just put it there. And an additional Tiger Strike again. So as you see here, we are almost back at our full health. Ending of turn. We have a lot of Noxious Fumes in AOE, and the damage keeps on piling up for them. So now we'll be attacking once again, using our Tiger Strike. Simple as that. Now both of them are dead. We will be using our offhand weapon to activate our Radiating Orb once again. Now we have it up. Then we're just gonna heal. We're just gonna try to attack him normally here, using a Reckless Attack. We just eliminated that. Moving to another target.
Fighting over this chair.
And we will be eliminating this target here once again. Now she's dead. And if you notice, our HP is almost 100% once more. Now it's time for me to move again. I'll just reposition myself so that I can cleave them down as much as possible. I can here. Have it here. Use my offhand attack to activate the Callous Glow Ring here, as well as the Noxious Fumes is already active. Attacking once again. They're almost dead. Ending of turn. Alright guys, that's it for the build. It is a really powerful frontliner that can either go solo play or maybe with your party, including your honor mode. It is very fun either way. What do you guys think about the builds, by the way? Would love to know, including your questions and clarifications in a comment down below. Shoutouts for all the people who subscribe and keep supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys for all the amazing support, and for all the people who haven't subscribed yet, thank you for watching the videos. Without you guys, we won't be here, and I hope I earn your subscriptions in the future. But if I earn it today, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to support me directly, consider joining our D20 Rulers Club by hitting that join button. Join our Discord with the guys, or if you want, I also have Patreon. Thanks again guys for watching. Finally, that's it for me. Hope to see you soon on the next Master Box Show. Peace out. Bye guys.